Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Saturday, January 9, 2021. CNN report. Pelosi says she spoke to Jen. Milley about Trump and the nuclear codes. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told House Democrats in a letter on Friday that she spoke with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Jen. Mark Milley to discuss President Donald Trump and the nuclear codes, as Democrats call for the president to be removed from office after a violent pro-Trump mob stormed the Capitol. This morning, I spoke to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Mark Milley to discuss available precautions for preventing an unstable president from initiating military hostilities or accessing the launch codes and ordering a nuclear strike, Pelosi wrote in a letter.
Fox report. Indonesia jet carrying 62 missing on domestic flight. A passenger jet carrying 62 people went missing Saturday after departing from Indonesia's capital. Sriwijaya Air 182, a domestic flight, took off from Jakarta at approximately 4 minutes to 2 p.m. local time, losing contact with air traffic controllers at 20 minutes to 3 p.m. according to Indonesian Transportation Ministry spokesperson Adita Irawati. In a statement, Irawati said search and rescue efforts were underway and that the ministry was working with assistance from the National Search and Rescue Agency and the National Transportation Safety Committee.
BBC report. Qanon Shaman, Jake Angeli charged over pro-Trump riots. Jacob Anthony Chansley, known as Jake Angeli, is in custody on charges including violent entry and disorderly conduct. Mr. Chansley, who calls himself the Qanon Shaman, is allegedly the man pictured with a painted face, fur hat and horns inside Congress on Wednesday. Donald Trump faces another impeachment charge for his role in the unrest. Democrats accuse the president of encouraging the riots, in which 5 people died.
Al Jazeera report. National carriers announce resumption of Qatar Saudi air travel. The national carriers of Qatar and Saudi Arabia have announced the resumption of air travel between the two countries starting next week, just days after a deal was reached to end a years-long regional diplomatic dispute. A Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC) summit on Tuesday declared an end to the bitter rift in which members Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, along with Egypt, blockaded Qatar since June 2017.
CNN report. Pope Francis says he is in line to take COVID-19 vaccine. Pope Francis has said the Vatican will begin COVID-19 vaccinations next week and that he is in line to receive the jab. The pontiff made the comments during an interview with Italy's Canale 5 channel, set to air on Sunday night. It is an ethical duty to take the vaccine. Here in the Vatican we will start next week. I am also in line to take it, he said, according to a news anchor for the channel in a preview of the interview, which was released Saturday.
Deutsche Welle report. UK trade problems to get worse before they improve. The British government is aiming to resolve trade disruptions between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK, Cabinet Office Minister Michael Gove said amid reports of problems caused by post-Brexit regulations coming into force at the beginning of the year. Several supermarket chains in Northern Ireland were forced to withdraw some produce from their shelves as the new regulations caused backlogs and delays.
Al Jazeera report. Beyond Capitol riot, Trump voter fraud claims leave their mark. For Bonnie Shiel, the 2020 United States presidential contest was incomparable. The need to tamp down conspiracies and misinformation, fueled in large part by President Donald Trump's false contention that widespread voter fraud occurred in the state, was unlike anything the Republican election clerk in the U.S. state of Michigan had seen before. I can't seem to convince people that there isn't some sort of conspiracy or fraud, said Shiel, a clerk in the right-leaning county of Grand Traverse who had to contend with a viral video in the wake of the November 3 election that alleged local postal workers backdated mail-in ballots.
Fox report. Air Force veteran identified as Capitol rioter carrying zip ties on Senate floor. A retired lieutenant colonel in the Air Force Reserves was identified as one of the rioters who stormed the nation's Capitol Wednesday and proceeded to the Senate floor carrying zip ties as lawmakers fled. Larry R. Brock Jr. confirmed to The New Yorker on Friday that he was the man pictured wearing a helmet and military gear on the Senate floor, after pro-Trump supporters, emboldened by the president's rhetoric, forced their way into the building.
CNN report. We're on the brink of utter collapse. Yellow cab drivers in New York struggle to stay alive as the pandemic rages on. For Augustine Tang, Driving a taxi was a way to carry on his father's legacy, who died unexpectedly in 2015. But the coronavirus pandemic has turned his taxi into a burden, a sentiment shared by thousands of other cab drivers in New York. It's a ghost town, Tang remarks, as he drives through Chinatown. With ridership down 80 to 90% since March 2020, drivers count themselves lucky if they are able to snag 3 passengers a shift.
Al Jazeera report. U.S. diplomat visits Western Sahara after Morocco-Israel deal. A top United States envoy has visited contested Western Sahara after Washington recognized Morocco's sovereignty there in exchange for Rabat normalizing ties with Israel. The U.S. Embassy in Rabat called the trip on Saturday by David Schenker, Assistant Secretary of State for Near Eastern Affairs, and the highest-ranking U.S. diplomat for North Africa and the Middle East, a historic visit. Schenker's visit comes before the expected opening of a provisional U.S. consulate in the desert region on Sunday, according to diplomatic sources in Rabat.
Deutsche Welle report. China calls on India to promptly return captured soldier. China's military online portal on Saturday demanded that Indian authorities promptly transfer back its soldier, saying China had already reported him missing in darkness and complicated terrain. The Chinese soldier was detained by India's army on the previous day. This is the second such incident since October. Tensions between the two Asian giants have escalated following fatal hand-to-hand clash in June that left 20 Indian soldiers killed in the Himalayan border region.
CNN report. Kim Jong-un says North Korea is developing tactical nukes, new warheads and a nuclear-powered submarine. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said his country is developing new weaponry including a nuclear-powered submarine, tactical nuclear weapons and advanced warheads designed to penetrate missile defense systems. In comments published Saturday, Kim said North Korea is pushing ahead with the armaments to deter the United States, comments that appear to show President Donald Trump's strategy of high-level engagement with Pyongyang, including 3 historic in-person meetings between Trump and Kim, failed to convince Pyongyang to stop its pursuit of a modern nuclear arsenal.
BBC report. Hezbollah denies any role in production of amphetamines. Sheikh Saeed Hassan Nasrallah, a staunch ally of the Syrian regime, said there was no credibility to the allegations. Suspicion fell on the group following the seizure in June 2020 of 14 tons (30,100 pounds) of the drugs in Italy. The drugs came from the Syrian port of Latakia, according to the Italian authorities. We contacted officials in Italy in order to trace its origins, Hassan Nasrallah said.
BBC report. Europe's slow start, how many people have had the COVID vaccine? Member states decide individually who to vaccinate, when and where, but the EU is coordinating strategy and buying vaccines in bulk. On Friday, the EU Commission agreed to buy an extra 300 million doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. That would give the EU nearly half of the firm's global output for 2021. BBC reporters in 7 European capitals explain how the vaccinations are going on their patch.
Deutsche Welle report. Coronavirus Digest. Merkel says Germany entering most difficult phase. Domestic flights, as well as flights from Greenland and the Faroe Islands, as well as passengers under 12, are exempt from the rule. Danish Foreign Minister Jeppe Kofod warned citizens on Friday of stern travel warnings. If you are considering traveling abroad, don't. The Health Commission of Hebei Province reported 14 new cases in the previous 24 hours on Saturday, all of them in the largest city, Shijiazhuang.
Fox report. Seattle PD investigating officers in connection with Capitol riot. The Seattle Police Department is investigating 2 of its officers who were in Washington, D.C., at the time the U.S. Capitol was stormed. Interim Police Chief Adrian Diaz said in a statement Friday that the officers have been placed on administrative leave while the department's Office of Police Accountability investigates whether they participated in Wednesday's deadly riot. The OPA will examine whether any department policies were violated and if any potential illegal activities need to be referred for criminal investigation, Diaz said.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell.